Hey, happy July the 1st. I was just writing in my little book of scribbly notes that I've been working on for several months now, and came to a thought of explaining my dissertation in leadership as a logos therapist, Logos hyphen or TAC therapist. And I can also say I'm a geophysicist, since I was director of the International Co-Producer Training Division with about a dozen geoscientists in the Department of Geophysics at the Defense Mapping Agency. I have a previous video I need to recover where I describe details of that for my portfolio, which I still want to work on. But I want to keep this short, maybe under 2 minutes. It's just I'm enjoying linking together being a logos therapist, educational psychologist, or as I call it here in what I'm writing is as a logos therapist, a practitioner of educational psychology, as a supplemental strategy for maximizing one's positive disintegration in personality development, which is a theory published in English finally in a 1964 book by Kazimierz Dabrowski. And his details of exactly how this is done, and he's got 5 levels. There's a video on the 5 levels, which is phenomenal. To me, is completely what we did and what I created, which I hopefully think is being used today, which I don't believe is, because I got to see what went on with the SASR in 2001 in November, when the Australians had a SERE program. Just within a week, we had 2 teams. I can't go into any details, but the long and the short of it is, by the time they allowed me to actually apply my skills as an educational psychologist, what I was trying to do with everyone was putting together these role plays, which were psychological factors, as Dabrowski calls them, constellations of psychological factors, which cause, I believe, this personality development. It causes one's personality just in these very brief SEEs, right? Significant emotional experiences, which is what the SERE school is all about. That this is, in fact, how one maximizes within due bounds in very short amounts of time, as laid out in many of my descriptions of SERE training, is that there's 3 levels of SERE training. I believe there needs to be 3 levels of, I don't know what we'd want to call it, constitutional analyses training, or understanding, like we're having this crisis in America today. It's a crisis of just trying to understand what is leadership. What we've got in front of us is this 2025 leadership continuum that's going to be the wrecking of the institution of democracy. So for me, it's a little bit odd, sitting here as I was writing some notes about my Jungian experience, recently reading again Novus Libra, his Red Book, and some of the other Jungian brilliant analyses, which just completely stepped away from Freud, which was, of course, this, I believe, clinical psychology of today, where clinical psychologists have to go out and measure. That's the whole measurement of becoming a clinical psychologist. Like the 2 that created the torture program, is that they believe they can go measure a human and then implement factors with a psychiatrist, which is exactly the torture program. So you can see how this now goes into 5 minutes of me yapping. because I'm just trying to understand the primo mobile. You know, what is it's almost a good analogy, is what Jung describes as the collective consciousness is really our ether. And that's a exploration I think might be fun to do in an introductory chapter of my leadership book. So that's about it. I didn't mean for this to go on to 6 minutes, but I'm really trying to work on this too. Living in Phoenix gave me a very dry skin. And now living in the tropics, it's nice to work on exercising the face a little bit better, because getting old is a wonderful thing. Sarcasm out.